assigned the control of construction and operation in the first railway, which were entrusted to the private companies. Later on, government undertook the construction of the railway line. The consulting engineer were designated as the government inspector. Initially, मतलब जब जो ट्रेन की परमिशन देते थे उनको गवर्नमेंट इंस्पेक्टर बोला जाता था. In 1883, their position was statutorily recognized, and later on, the Railway Inspectorate was placed under the Railway Board, which was established in 1905. And 1940 में inspectorates were placed under the Ministry of Transport and Communication. 1940 में ये Ministry of Transport and Communication के अंदर में चला गया. In 1961, an attempt to give to better status, Railway Inspectorate was designated as Commissioner of the Railway Safety. So, present position is that we have a organization of CCRS headquartered at Lucknow under the Ministry of Civil Aviation and assisted by the CRS in a different circles. As far as organization is concerned, Chief Commissioner of the Railway Safety head में है. उसके अलावा Commissioner of Railway Safety होते हैं Deputy CRS, General, Electrical, Mechanical, Operating और SMT. Different department के CRS Deputy CRS रहते हैं. जो jurisdiction है Commissioners of the Railway Safety का Central Circle मुंबई में, सेंट्रल रेलवे, वेस्ट सेंट्रल रेलवे एंड कोंकण रेलवे आता है. ईस्टर्न सर्कल में ईस्टर्न रेलवे एंड ईस्ट सेंट्रल रेलवे आता है. नॉर्दर्न सर्कल में नॉर्दर्न रेलवे आता है. नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न में नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न रेलवे एंड नॉर्थ सेंट्रल रेलवे आता है. नॉर्थ ईस्ट फ्रंटियर रेलवे में नॉर्थ ईस्ट फ्रंटियर रेलवे और मेट्रो रेलवे कोलकाता. सदर्न रेलवे में सदर्न रेलवे और साउथ वेस्टर्न रेलवे. साउथ सेंट्रल रेलवे सर्किल में साउथ सेंट्रल रेलवे आता है. साउथ ईस्टर्न रेलवे कोलकाता में साउथ ईस्टर्न रेलवे, साउथ सेंट्रल रेलवे एंड ईस्ट कोस्ट रेलवे ऑल आर प्लेस्ड अंडर द साउथ ईस्टर्न सर्किल. एंड वेस्टर्न सर्किल में वेस्टर्न रेलवे एंड नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न रेलवे. So this is the jurisdiction of the various commissioner and headquarter, and all are placed under the CCRS at Lucknow. The Commissioner of Railway Safety works under the administrative control of the Ministry of Civil Aviation, Government of India. Deals with matters pertaining to safety of rail, travel and trade operation, charged with certain statutory function as laid down in the Railway Act 1989. The function includes inspectorial, investigatory and advisory in the nature. Sanction, CRS will provide sanction for execution of the work having interface with the safety of running lines, introduction of new rolling stock, opening of new railway line, statutory investigation into accident as per rules framed under the Railway Act, and executive instructions issued from time to time. ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
Legislation and executive orders. Indian Railway Act 1989, Chapter 6 is related to the CRS. Chapter 6 में Section 20 of IRPWM, Indian Railway Permanent Pay Manuals, also deal with the CRS sanction. Policy Circular number 7 for opening of the section and sectional speed sweep by the Ministry of Railway. Railway Board is the safety controlling authority for the Indian Railway and final authority for regulating and sanctioning of the section. Section of CRS is necessary for execution of any work on open line which will affect running of trains except in case of the emergency. ठीक है.
हाँ जी सर.
Indian Railway Act 1989, Chapter 6, Section 22. Approval of CRS is necessary for execution of any work on open line which will affect the running of the train, except in case of the emergency. Works which for which CRS sanction is not required, जिसमें CRS sanction नहीं लगता है, वो realignment curves, lubrication of the joints, painting of girdle, renewal of point and crossing involving no modification in layout, rails and sleeper removals. इन काम के लिए आपको CRS sanction की जरूरत नहीं है. नेक्स्ट चले.
Yes sir. Yes sir.
Open line works requiring a sanction of Commissioner of Railway Safety. इन काम के लिए आपको CRS सैंक्शन आवश्यक है. एक तो एडिशन एंड अल्टरेशन टू रनिंग लाइंस, इलेक्ट्रिक ट्रैक्शन इंस्टॉलेशन, प्रोविजन ऑफ न्यू स्टेशंस, प्रोविजन ऑफ FOB अक्रॉस द ट्रैक, न्यू ब्रिजेस और एक्सटेंशन ऑफ एग्जिस्टिंग ones, new cable crossing in running lines, carriage of ODC having gross clearance less than 6 inch, that means C class, any works involving infringement of schedule of dimension. These works require sanction of the CRS. Without sanction, work cannot be commenced.
सर इसमें से कुछ इम्पोर्टेंट है क्या?
इम्पोर्टेंट से मतलब
जो पेपर में आए.
नहीं, पेपर में आज कुछ नहीं आया, आज के लेक्चर से नहीं आया. ठीक है.
ओके सर, थैंक यू.
धन्यवाद सर. ये इम्पोर्टेंट इस हिसाब से है कि आपको पता होना चाहिए कि क्या क्या CRS के फंक्शंस हैं, और पेपर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से नहीं इम्पोर्टेंट है, लेकिन वैसे इम्पोर्टेंट है. ठीक है.
सर ओडीसी के लिए भी सेफ्टी के सीआरएस की जरूरत पड़ती है.
हाँ, ओडीसी में क्या है कि जैसे मान लो ये क्लास सी जो 6 इंच से कम वाला है ना ग्रॉस क्लियरेंस, क्लास सी ओडीसी हो गया, इसलिए इसमें CRS का सैंक्शन जरूरी है. क्लास ए और क्लास बी में जो का CRS का जरूरी नहीं रहता है, वो जनरल लेवल पे ही क्लियर हो जाता है.
सर ओडीसी क्या है?
ओवर डायमेंशनल कंसाइनमेंट कल पढ़ाया था ना.
ओके सर.
ओवर डायमेंशनल कंसाइनमेंट था ना, कल आपको बताया था. कल अटेंड नहीं किया था क्या? ये वाला ओपन नहीं हो पा रहा। ये कल बताया था ना, क्लास ए, क्लास बी और क्लास डी 4 डायमेंशन कंसाइनमेंट होते हैं। 4 डायमेंशन कंसाइनमेंट आर बोथ whose length, width and height are such they are one or more of them infringe the standard moving dimension। जो आपकी स्टैंडर्ड मूविंग डायमेंशन होती है इन रन स्टार्ट टू डेस्टिनेशन, अगर कोई भी मूवमेंट इंफ्रिंज होती है तो वो ओडीसी कहलाता है, ओवर डायमेंशनल कंसाइनमेंट। इसके 3 क्लास होते हैं। एक तो क्लास ए, क्लास ए में जो ग्रॉस क्लियरेंस है मूविंग डायमेंशन का 225 mm और 150 mm से, नेट क्लियरेंस 150 mm से करता है, फ्रिज के ऊपर रहता है। क्लास ए जो परमिटेड रहता है उसमें नेट क्लियरेंस 150 mm और एबव रहता है। क्लास बी ओडीसी, इसमें नेट क्लियरेंस 75 mm से 150 mm तक होता है, ग्रॉस क्लियरेंस 150 से 225 mm। क्लास सी ओडीसी रहते हैं, वो नेट क्लियरेंस आज लेस देन 75 mm रहता है, ग्रॉस क्लियरेंस लेस देन 150। ठीक है।
यस सर।
नेक्स्ट चलें।
यस सर।
No new line can be opened for public carriage of passenger without obtaining CRS sanction. Taken, no sanction is necessary for opening of the new line to boost traffic। नई लाइन जब बन जाती है तो सीआरएस सैंक्शन के लिए अपने एप्लीकेशन भेज देते हैं, लेकिन जब तक सीआरएस आता है उसके पहले गुड्स ट्रेन के लिए चीफ इंजीनियर की अप्रूवल से, पीसी की अप्रूवल से लाइन को गुड्स ट्रैफिक के लिए खोला जा सकता है विदाउट परमिशन ऑफ द सीआरएस। ठीक है।
Yes, sir.
Line considered fit for opening when all works requiring running of the train has been completed and commissioned. Staff required for operating new lines have been posted, tracked throughout, bagged and boxed throughout. Permanent maintenance gangs are distributed along definite sections। सर ठीक है, नेक्स्ट चलें।
Yes, sir.
सीआरएस की एप्लीकेशन रहती वो एक्सपेक्टेड कमेंसमेंट ऑफ वर्क के 14 दिन पहले अपन अप्लाई करते हैं, लेकिन न्यू लैंड के लिए 1 महीने पहले अप्लाई करते हैं, क्योंकि बाकी वर्क जो रहते हैं उसमें सीआरएस जरूरी नहीं है कि सीआरएस विजिट करें। दे कैन गिव अप्रूवल विदाउट विजिटिंग, लेकिन न्यू लैंड में तो सीआरएस विजिट करते हैं। ये न्यू लैंड की जो एप्लीकेशन है, इट इज सबमिटेड 1 month बिफोर द ओपनिंग ऑफ द सेक्शन। ठीक है, नेक्स्ट चलें।
Yes, sir.
टीआरएस इंस्पेक्शन के बाद में लाइन को 3 तरह से खोल सकते हैं। एक तो वो ओपन अनकंडीशनली ओपन कर सकते हैं, दूसरी लाइन कैन बी ओपन सब्जेक्टेड टू सर्टेन रेस्ट्रिक्शंस एंड ओपनिंग ऑफ लाइन टू बी पोस्टपोन अंटिल सर्टेन स्टेटेड कंडीशंस हैव बीन फुलफिल्ड। या तो लाइन को अनकंडीशनल बोल देंगे, या दूसरी बात कंडीशन दे देंगे कि ये चीजें कंप्लीट हो जाए, या 100 किलोमीटर से लाइन खोल दें या 80 किलोमीटर से खोल दें, सब्जेक्ट टू सर्टेन कंडीशन, और ही में पोस्टपोन। ठीक है, नेक्स्ट चलें।
Yes, sir.
ओपन लाइन वर्क्स जो अभी अपन डिस्कस कर रहे थे, एक तो एडिशन और अल्टरेशन ऑफ द रनिंग लाइंस, इलेक्ट्रिक ट्रैक्शन इंस्टॉलेशन, प्रोविजन ऑफ न्यू स्टेशंस, प्रोविजन ऑफ फुटओवर ब्रिज अक्रॉस द ट्रैक, न्यू ब्रिजेस और एक्सटेंशन ऑफ द एग्जिस्टिंग वन, न्यू लेवल क्रॉसिंग इन रनिंग लाइंस, carriage of the ODC having clearance and any work involving SOD। मेजर फंक्शन जो सीआरएस के हैं, एडवाइजरी फंक्शन है, फॉर सेफ्टी ऑफ द ऑपरेशंस, opening of new lines, doubling gauge conversion, introduction of new rolling stocks, works in existing lines, inspection of existing lines, sanction of infringement to SOD, inquiry into the serious accident। ऑल पैसेंजर एक्सीडेंट्स के लिए सीआरएस के लिए जाता है, एंड इफ सीआरएस सारी इंक्वायरी की भी सीरियस, और गुड्स के भी जो एक्सीडेंट सीरियस होते हैं, दे मे आल्सो गो टू सीआरएस। तो इंक्वायरी इनटू वेरियस एक्सीडेंट्स, इट इज द ड्यूटी। स्टेटरी अगर इसका वो देखेंगे, इंडियन रेलवे एक्ट में दिया हुआ है। उसके अलावा इंडियन रेलवे ओपनिंग ऑफ पब्लिक गैरेज की एक बुक है, अमेंडेड फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम, इंडियन रेलवे शेड्यूल ऑफ डायमेंशन, ever rule specify authority competent to sanction and procedure for obtaining the sanction of the TRS। So additional extension of running line, additional present to point and crossing, Alteration to point and crossings, permanent diversion for more than 2 kilometers in length without any station in between, irrespective of the length when new station involved. Temporary diversion, irrespective of the length, except the restoration of the full communication after the accident. Additions or alteration to electric installation and track for electrical traction. एप्लीकेशन का प्रोफार्मा एंड प्रोसीजर्स है. Application for sanction made in 30 days in advance of expected commencement of the work. If work is not taken up within 12 months from date of sanction, CRS to be approved for renewal of the sanction. In case of divisional works, application made by CNDN or CNDST for the track, bridge or signal interlocking work as the case may be. DRM ADRM should sign the application. In case of works of construction organization, whether civil engineering or S&T application will be signed by SAG, CEC or CST as the case may be. In case of work involving civil engineering and S&T both, applications shall be signed jointly by SAG officer of S&T and engineering. Name and designation of signatory should invariably be mentioned. Work being executed by RBNL and ERCON are coordinated by the CECON for preparation of application and taking CRS sanction. Following documents are necessary. Document to accompany application are detailed in Annex 13 एक तो इसमें क्या है, ट्रैक सर्टिफिकेट लगता है. ट्रैक सर्टिफिकेट में ट्रैक इज सुटेबल फॉर मैक्सिमम एक्सेल लोड that is given along with the application signed by DTC track, countersigned by the CTO. This certificate indicating the bridge is designed to carry axle load proposed to run along with the application. This certificate is also signed by DTC bridge and countersigned by the CV and CE. For the purpose of the track and bridge certificate as per Annex 13/2, 13/3 COM should also be consulted in regard to type of the locomotive and rolling stock to be their axle load and speed. Third is the OHE certificate, SNT certificate, CMW certificate and other certificate in various forms 1 to 3. Final certificate is signed by the general manager of the railway. This is the format given 13/1. Permanent works with description of the proposed work, drawing of the permanent work, list of infringement to schedule dimension, list of deviation from the manual of instruction for signaling and interlocking and block signaling, list of deviation from general and subsidiary. Restrictions, rules of traffic working. Application में हुए CRS is according sanction may or may not be proposed to inspect. ये कोई जरूरी नहीं है कि CRS इंस्पेक्ट करे. न्यू लाइन को छोड़ के CRS बिना सैंक्शन किए भी बिना इंस्पेक्शन किए भी सैंक्शन दे सकता है. If CRS decide to inspect the work prior to opening, he will after inspection communicate in writing his sanction to open the work. If CRS decides not to inspect the work, safety certificate in form of 13/5 along with other certificates submitted to CRS before work is opened. This will be done by officer in charge of the work. Restrictions, rules of traffic working. For application में हुए CRS is according sanction may or may not be proposed to inspect. ये कोई जरूरी नहीं है कि CRS इंस्पेक्ट करे. न्यू लाइन को छोड़ के CRS बिना सैंक्शन किए भी बिना इंस्पेक्शन किए भी सैंक्शन दे सकता है. If CRS decide to inspect the work prior to opening, he will after inspection communicate in writing his sanction to open the work. If CRS decide not to inspect the work, safety certificate in form of 13/5 along with other certificates submitted to CRS before work is opened. This will be done by officer in charge of the work. deviation from plans approved by CRS. Prior approval of the CRS is necessary if plan already approved by CRS have any deviation, especially which affect layout of the lines or arrangement of the signal or working groups. No new work notification to railway official when opening works. No new work affecting running of the train or traffic parking at station should be brought into use until staff of all departments have been notified by means a circular issued by the DSO or TO. तो दिस इज द जनरल आप सीआरएस के बारे में और सीआरएस सेंक्शन के बारे में डिस्कस किया हम लोगों ने. कुछ समझ में आया थोड़ा बहुत सीआरएस के बारे में?
हाँ जी सर.
नेक्स्ट इसमें प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट का और दिया हुआ है. प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट और थोड़ा डिस्कस कर लेते हैं इसके बाद. ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
तो दिस इज द दिख रहा है प्रेजेंटेशन इज विजिबल.
सर. यस सर.
So definition of the project. Project is the any activity which has a precise goal, well-defined beginning and ends. That is from that consume the resources, schedules and requirement. So this is the definition of a project. Project में एक तो organization of the resources into various activities, implementation of the activities in a logical sequence. There are many resources. Resources are materials, equipments, technology, people, time and money. These are the various resources. A project is a one-time effort that produces a specific result. For example, a building. So it is a tangible. This is in contrast to the program, which is ongoing process, such as a quality control program, activity to manage a series of multiple projects together. So various stages of the projects, is the thinking, planning and scheduling, data collections, status updates through network and early warning, execution, testing, and maintenance. The life cycle of the project involve uh, 7 phases: concept and feasible studies, preliminary engineering and design, detailed engineering and design, procurement, construction, startup, and implementation. These are the 7 phases of life cycle of the project. So these are the 7 phases: concept of feasible study, preliminary engineering and design, detailed engineering and design, procurement, construction, startup and implementation, and operation or realization. पहला concept and feasibility studies. Concept feasible studies में forecast future demand, locations, availability of the resources, assess transportation, political and institutional factors, sociological, economic impact on community, environmental impact. Overall technical and economic feasibility. Preliminary engineering and design, architectural concepts, evolution of technological process alternatives, size and capacity of facility, comparative economic studies. Review by regulatory body. ये माइक खुला है, अनुमान मीना. Review by regulatory bodies for compliance, zoning regulation, building codes, licensing procedures, safety standard, environmental impact, and public hearings. Funding cycle in legislative and executive bodies. Detailed engineering and design, site investigations, design of architectural elements, foundation design, design of structural elements, electrical and mechanical design, preparation of specification and drawing, preparation of the contract documents. These steps are involved in the detailed engineering and design of a project. procurement of the services, procurement of the equipment, and procurement of the material. Type of the contracts. Contract is also awarded. Construction phases में processes where the designer plan and specification are converted into the physical structures and facilities. Coordination of all resources to complete the project. Project will be on schedule within the budget and according to specified standard of quality and performance. Startup and implementation, testing of component, warranty period, startup and implementation, testing of the component, warranty period. Seven is the operation and realization. पांच मिनट का ब्रेक करते हैं, ब्रेक के बाद फिर कंटिन्यू करते हैं, है ना? 45 पे कंटिन्यू करते हैं.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
So in a project, there are three interest groups. One is the owner who wants to achieve the best value of their investment. And contractor desire to bid low enough to win, but high enough to realize profit on investment. And workers hope to achieve better living standard and working conditions. So there are three interest group in any project. The role of project manager for leading and coordinating the project effort from inception to successful completion. The person is responsible for making the things happen. So project management is a set of skills and methods of planning, organization, and managing a project from inception to its successful completion. Completion of project on time within the budget without compromising the quality. The need of project management is there to define the project and agree with the customer to handle project and effectively in an organization, to plan and assess resource need for the project, to estimate project cost and make the proposals. Plan and schedule activities in a project, to allocate the right resources at the right time, to assess risk and failure points and make up backup plans, to lead a project team effectively and communicate well among other team members.
Okay, sir.
Project management plan tells how work will be done. The key of successful project is on the planning. All the detailed planning work for different aspects of project is integrated into the one single plan. It is called the project management plan. Planning and scheduling. Uh, Planning is an art and science of the converting a set of objectives to realization through a series of steps involved executed in an organized and predictive way so that there will be a less requirement of changes in the plan later on. Be part of any schedule planning, define what needs to be done, deciding how it will be done, implementation, getting it done, and testing and evaluation, verifying that it was the right. Fundamentals, scheduling philosophy, scheduling terms and definitions, type of the schedules, relationship and resources. Scheduling philosophy में what do you schedule, why do you schedule, what do you schedule and when do you schedule. Why do you schedule? To provide a tool for breaking works into manageable chunks, provide a tools for measuring progress, monitor and measure progress against goals, provide a commitment about when the things will be done, encourage everyone on the project to see their effort as a part of a whole, satisfy customers or contractual requirements. A schedule is a formalized method of managing times and resources. What do you schedule? Milestones, activities required by contract or customer, activities critical to the performance of the project, changes to the original plan. A simple schedule that is used is far more valuable than most detailed schedule created to satisfy a contractual requirement. When do you schedule? Prior to or at the beginning of the project, the schedule is referred as the baseline. At periodic interval during the project, this is commonly referred as the updating. If there is a changes in the scope of the project, if the project is substantially behind or ahead of the baseline, then scheduling is necessary. Common scheduling terms: project, activity, duration, relationship, bar chart, lag, critical path, milestone, and flows. These are the common scheduling terms and definitions. Projects, the definition of project is that it is a finite, it has a specific beginning and end points. A project must contain resources, typically time, money, and people. A project is a major event, like construction of railway line, construction of a building, construction of a dam, or any other thing. It has a major event. Activity, activity is the basic building block of a schedule. An activity defines a measurable quantity of work. Activity on nodes. Nodes represent activities and arrow for precedence relationship. Activity on arrow. Arrow represent activities and nodes are events for points in the time. Activity on the nodes. Activity on the nodes. If this is a start of the project and रेड कलर से जो दिया है वो एक्टिविटी नंबर दिए और ब्लैक कलर से दिया है वो ड्यूरेशन दिया है and arrows are giving the interdependency. So if it is first activity is the design of the house and obtain financing, second activity is the laying of the foundations, third activity is the order and receive material, fourth activity is the build house, fifth activity is the select paints, sixth activity is the select carpet, and seventh activity is the finish of the work. So laying of foundation and order of receipt of material, both activities depending on the first activity, that is a design of house and obtain financing. And duration of first activity is 3, duration of second activity is 2, duration of third activity is the 1 day. Next is the fifth activity. Fifth activity is the select paint. It will require a 1 day. It is depending on the second activity as well as it is depending on the third activity. Now we comes to the fourth activity. Fourth activity is the build a house. It depends on the laying of the foundations, second activity, and it also depends on the order and material of the third activity. Then we come to the finish of the work. Finish of the work is depending on the fourth activity and sixth activity. अगर इसी सेम प्रोजेक्ट को हम लोग एक्टिविटीज ऑन एरो करेंगे तो एक्टिविटी ऑन एरो ये 1 2 3 4 दे आर पॉइंट्स हैं और एरो पे एक्टिविटीज है। तो एक्टिविटी फर्स्ट एक्टिविटी इज ए डिजाइन ऑफ हाउस ऑफ 3 days, second activity has a 2 days, third activity has a 1 day, and the select and paint activity is the 1 day, build a house 3 days, select carpet and finish of the work. Here dummy is required. Dummy is required because activity this activity is followed. Uh, it is activity number 4. 4 is depending on the this activity and this activity. ये क्लियर है, ये दोनों एक ही है, केवल फॉर्मेट जो दोनों के डिफरेंट है।
Yes, sir.
Scheduling and terms. Duration is the measurable unit to perform an activity. Typically, duration are in work hour or work day. Relationship interdependency of one activity to another. Activity relationship are two types: predecessor activity and successor activity. Predecessor is a task when whose completion determine the start of the successor. Successor is a task which is dependent on the completion only or predecessor. Bar chart, graphical representation of a group of activities making up a project represented by bars along with the horizontal time axis shows duration and planned sequence of activity. Lag, the time associated in the relationship between two activities. For example, stripping form cannot be completed until 10 days after concrete is placed. In this case, there is a 10-day lag between the activities. Critical path. Critical path is the paths which are series activity having the zero float. जीरो फ्लोट से मतलब है यहाँ पर कि अगर कोई भी एक्टिविटी अगर डिले होती है तो पूरा प्रोजेक्ट डिले हो जाएगा। जैसे कि इस केस में आप कंसीडर करेंगे तो एक्टिविटी नंबर this is a critical path 1 2 4 and 7. Any its duration is the 3 plus 2 5 5 plus 3 8 8 plus 1 9. So this project is of 9 days. If any activity is delayed by 1 day, whole project will be delayed by 1 day. So that is known as the critical path 1 2 4 and 7. और यहाँ पर अगर इस डायरेक्शन से आप जाएंगे तो 3 plus 1 4 4 plus 1 5 5 plus 1 6 6 plus 1 7. तो ये यहाँ पर 1 डे का आपके पास में गैप अवेलेबल है, फ्लोट अवेलेबल है। तो क्रिटिकल पाथ इज द पाथ जहाँ पर ऑल फ्लोट्स आर जीरो. एनी डिले ऑन एक्टिविटी इज delaying the whole project by that time. Milestone is a point in time that signify either the beginning or the end of series of related activities. A milestone has a zero duration. Float, a measure of leeway in activity performance. Typical float types are the free float and total float. Free floats is the amount of time that an activity's start can be delayed without affecting the early start of successor activity. Total float is the amount of time in starting or finishing an activity that will not affect the completion of project. Work breakdown activities, framework for organizing activities that make up a project, a method of breaking down of a project into individual elements in a hierarchical structure to be executed by the project team to create required deliverable. Process of subdividing project deliverable and project work into more manageable components. It group tasks facilitating resource allocation, assignment of responsibilities and measurement and control of the project. Structure of work breakdown structure level of various activities depend on the reporting requirement for the project. It is the developed before identification of dependencies and estimation of activity duration. Resources, anything needed to complete an activity, labor, material, equipment or design. These are the called the resources. There are various types of the schedules. Schedules में written schedules होते हैं, bar chart और Gantt chart होते हैं, CPM schedules होते हैं, critical path method, PERT and time scale arrow diagram. Bar chart है, bar chart is a graphical representation of the schedule, list of activities and durations, may show logic used for a small project. The bar chart was originally developed by Henry L. Grants in 1917 and is alternatively called a Gantt chart. Critical path method, which was developed by DuPont Company and applied first to the construction project into the chemical industry. PERT है program evaluation and review technique, graphical representation that allow for easy evaluation of the flow of a project. Developed during 1958, the technique was developed and used in conjunction with the planning and designing of the Polaris missile project. Time scale arrow diagram is a combination of bar chart and normal network. Activities are represented by horizontal lines on time scale and also show interdependency between the various activities. It facilitates better estimation of overall project, mark progress, compare actual progress to schedule progress. Useful for effective resource allocation technique and for labeling of resource utilization shifting of the certain activities. This type of the project है. Here various activities are decided. This is the design activities. It has a 13 days. 13 days. First is the select designer. Second is the create plans, create contractor. So these activities are dependent on starting and contract. Relationship are the interdependency between one activity and another or group of activities. There are 4 types of the relationship: finish to start, start to start, finish to finish, and start to finish. First, finish to start. Finish to start. It is the most common type of the scheduling activity relationship. Simply stated, start of the next activity depending on the completion of previous activity. जैसे कि इसमें आप देखेंगे ये एक्टिविटी है, this activity is dependent on after finishing of the this activity. So this is called the finish to start activity. For example, construction project में you cannot pour the concrete until reinforcing is in place. Start to start activities में start to start relationship implies that an activity can start once another activity has started. For example, concealed plumbing work and concealed wiring work can start together. Next is the finish to finish project. Finish to finish relationship implies that completion of an activity is dependent upon the completion of another activity. This relationship is commonly used with start to start relationship. For example, color wash and electrical switch fixing needs to be completed together. This is the graphical representation of the various activity. Finish to start activity में B activity can be only started after finish of the A activity. This A activity is the predecessor activity, B is the successor activity. Finish to finish start में the finish of the predecessor determine the finish of the successor activity. Here A and B will be finished dependent of A is depending on the B. Start to start activity में both A and B can be started together. And start to finish activity of the predecessor. Start of the predecessor determine the finish of the successor. तो यहाँ पर A एक्टिविटी तभी स्टार्ट हो सकती है जब B फिनिश हो जाए. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट चलें.
Yes, sir.
So resources various, all project consume resources. Resources are not just people, resources can include money, material, equipment and food. How well these resources are allocated and monitored. सर क्लास में 5 मिनट में लगाते हैं किसी को. नहीं कोई बात नहीं. सर बस सर. How well these resources are allocated and monitored is a key measure of any project success or failure. Steps in creating a project schedule: activity definition, activity sequencing, estimating, activity duration, schedule development, and schedule control. Activity definition में an activity must have a definite start and end. Activity is used to develop a plan for completing a project that sequence and schedules each activity. An activity is quantifiable and measurable. Activities shall relate to the WBS work breakdown schedule and allow for ease in quantifying and reporting. देखो different दिया हुआ है. जनरल टाइप का वर्क ब्रेकडाउन स्ट्रक्चर, डेवलपिंग ए प्रोजेक्ट schedule. So logic and relationship, use conventional finish to start logic to develop relationship. This is the first pass at developing schedule. As you define the schedule, you will incorporate start to start and finish to finish relationship. Calendar is the project going to schedule in hours or day. Will there be a work activity that outside the normal work together? Will the project that include weekend and holidays? Duration, does the duration of activities seem practical and achievable? Nature of the task critical to the project of filling work. Duration should be not less than 2-3 days and not longer than 50 days. What resources should be incorporated? Tie resources to the level of activities. A good place to begin assigning resources is from the budget or cost structure. There are various types of the constants. like time, dependencies, assumption, and physical. Time constants, O constant, early date, start no load earlier than, finish no later than, as late as possible, start not later than, finish no earlier than. Baseline of the project, original plan is the baseline. Baseline versus current schedule, changes to baseline, performance measurement, earned value. Updating or progressing, percent complete, time, budget, physical, remaining duration and remaining work. Output from progressing, schedule updates, corrective action and lesson learned. Change control management are the other major management, project cost management, project quality management, project human resources management, project communication management, project risk management and project change management. So this has completed our the project management part. Any questions?
कहाँ गया?
आप लोग वीडियो ओपन कर लीजिए 2 मिनट के लिए, आप लोगों को देख तो लें कम से कम।
वीडियो ओपन करो, हम लोग सर बोल रहे हैं।
अभी तक तो क्या है कि एकदम वन वे कम्युनिकेशन होता रहता है तो पता ही नहीं चलता।
यस सर।
दिस इज लास्ट क्लास, तो अभी तो आप लोगों के ग्रुप में अब इंडक्शन में ही मुलाकात होगी। यहाँ तो अभी क्लासेस आपकी हैं तो नहीं हो पाएगी।
हाँ सर।
सर SWR और CWR ट्रैक कौन से हैं?
SWR कह रहा था शॉर्ट बेल्डेड रेल, जैसे 3 रेल पैनल और 5 रेल पैनल जो ट्रैक होता है, तो अगर मान लो बेल्डिंग के 3 रेल को बेल्ड किया केवल तो वो शॉर्ट बेल्डेड रेल कहलाता है। और अगर 3 या 5 रेल से ज्यादा का जो बेल्डिंग होता है वो LWR कहलाता है, लॉन्ग बेल्डेड रेल। और लॉन्ग बेल्डेड रेल में क्या है कि जैसे अगर काफी लंबा, जैसे मान लो 8 किलोमीटर का आपने ट्रैक बेल्ड कर दिया या थ्रू यार्ड के थ्रू भी उसको थ्रू कर दिया तो वो CWR कहलाता है, कंटिन्यूअस बेल्डेड रेल। बेसिकली CWR और LWR आर द सेम। और शॉर्ट बेल्डेड रेल है वो 3 रेल पैनल और 5 रेल पैनल।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
और कैसा लग रहा है नायर में? आप लोगों से तो एक्चुअली फिजिकली मुलाकात ही नहीं हो पाती। अब आप लोगों की आपस में नहीं हो पाती तो हम लोगों की क्या होगी? काफी रेस्ट्रिक्शंस भी हैं और गवर्नमेंट के भी रेस्ट्रिक्शंस हैं और एक्चुअल रेस्ट्रिक्शन भी रिक्वायर्ड है। काफी लोग देखो पॉजिटिव भी आ गए तो बड़ा मुश्किल काम हो गया है। यानी आओ आपकी ट्रेनिंग शुरू हो गई, दैट इज ए वैसे जनरल क्लासेस में ऑनलाइन क्लासेस से आपको प्रॉब्लम तो हो रही होगी थोड़ी फिजिकल क्लास की तुलना में।
ये सर सर
यस सर, हो रही है सर।
कम समझ में आता है सर, थोड़ा आसान होना थोड़ा
कम समझ में आता है।
एक्चुअली क्या है कि हम लोगों को भी ऑनलाइन में उतना कंफर्टेबल नहीं रहता है। ऑफलाइन में क्या है कि काफी कंफर्टेबल रहता है। कम्युनिकेशन इज मच मोर इजियर इन ए ऑफलाइन मोड। ऑनलाइन मोड में
वन वे कम्युनिकेशन ही हो पाता है सर।
ऑनलाइन मोड में तो पता ही नहीं चलता कि क्या समझ में आ रहा है क्या समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। एनीहाउ, लेकिन अब जो
हाँ सर, सही बोल रहे हैं।
अब जो सिचुएशन है उसके हिसाब से ऑफलाइन तो अभी हो नहीं पाएंगे क्लासेस। अभी आप लोगों का जनवरी में अपने अपने ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट में होगा ना प्रोग्राम?
सर अभी दिसंबर में ही जा रहे हैं सर।
दिसंबर में निकल लेंगे यहाँ से तो।
अच्छा, दिसंबर में 19 दिसंबर तक है ना, कब 18 दिसंबर तक कब है?
हाँ सर 18 दिसंबर तक।
सर 18 दिसंबर से।
18 दिसंबर से तो 21-22 दिसंबर से फिर वहाँ इंस्टीट्यूट में होगा।
सर रिसेंट में भी हर वीक एग्जाम होंगे सर।
हाँ, एडिशन में तो वहाँ तो काफी एग्जाम होते हैं, क्योंकि वहाँ का कंटिन्यूअसली सब्जेक्ट काफी पढ़ाए जाते हैं ना वहाँ पर एडिशन में।
सर उधर सीटीआई से भी हर वीक एग्जाम होते हैं क्या, जैसे यहाँ पे?
वो हर वीक होते होंगे, पक्का होते होंगे, क्योंकि क्या है कि इतने सब्जेक्ट हैं, जितने सब्जेक्ट पढ़ाए जाते हैं और हर सब्जेक्ट का एग्जाम होता है।
सर सुना है ट्रेनिंग में बहुत मजा आता है, वो कब आता है सर?
ट्रेनिंग में
यस
हेलो,
सर, यस
क्या बोल रहे हैं?
सर, ट्रेनिंग में बहुत मजा आता है, वो कब आता है सर, ये पूछ रहा हूँ।
अच्छा, एक्चुअली क्या है कि आपकी जब यहाँ बड़ौदा और एडिशन की ट्रेनिंग है, काफी एंजॉयबल रहती है।